You shaking hands.
The only foreigner.
Yeah.
Ja, als je straks nog een straat tussen de dingen. Het is natuurlijk leuk. Heel actief uitgestrekt. Dus je zet dan een programma van hier, van de serie, ik zat er alleen, de eerste, moest je alles doen. Uw dominant. Ik ook niet. Heb je gescheiden. Ik dacht zo aan. Wacht, ik ook niet. Op een moment dat ik zo ging ook zo uit dat is zo. Nee. Filip was verloren? Nee, jawel. Ik was net of niet.
Komt verwijgen of het journaal?
Hello, people.
Hi everyone. Sorry for the delay. There was some traffic between the hotel and here. But we're here with two of our great stars, the two poster boys of the Aging World and then 2020. Mo Farah and Bashir Abdi. Very happy to have you guys here. Let's jump straight in. I mean, needless to introduce those guys, but I'll have a little shot at it anyway. And on my far side, we have Sir Mo Farah from the UK. Impressive list if you see it. 4 Olympic golds, 6 world titles, 6 European golds, 2 European indoor golds, world cross-country champion. Pretty impressive. And then what a time on the half marathon and the marathon 2:05:11. I think this is really fantastic. Athlete, one of the greats we still have on the track. I would say back on the track. Mo said his goodbye to the track a while ago. Just in the car, he confessed how hard he missed the track. And then together with his great friend and training partner, Bashir Abdi, our fellow countryman, my city man, de twee Gentenaars, just in the weekend. Also a fantastic athlete. We know him from his great performance on track, and we still remember how happy he made us on that night in Berlin, having a silver medal in the 5,000 meter. But even more impressive probably was his marathon record earlier this year. Before we realized it would be such a strange year with 2:04:49. 49, faster than Mo. So okay guys, I mean my first question actually for both of you, but I'll ask Mo to answer first. How does it feel to be back on the track?
Thank you for having me, Cedric, and everyone. It was very exciting. I heard the news that I'm going to get there. I decided after Chicago 2019 that I want to go back on the track, because as an athlete you never quite appreciate what you have and what's there till you actually walk away from it and then realize it. And I miss the track. I miss the track. I generally do miss the track, and I'm really excited to be back on the track and making this my first race on the track in Brussels. Thanks to the team who's put this together. Excited and see what I can do tomorrow for both of us. It's just nice to be back on track. I'm just like excited.
And for me as well, last time I ran track race was 2018 over here at the Memorial Fountain. It was a great way to say goodbye from the track, but now I'm back and I'm really happy to be back. And it's a strange year, difficult times, but I was one of the athletes who was lucky to run on time a marathon, and now I feel like I'm running half marathon. It's on the track, but I'm happy to be back, and I'm very excited for tomorrow night.
So Mo, how did you cope with this lockdown? Obviously, it's been a very strange season, very strange year for everybody, not only athletes, of course. Maybe athletes in the least, as people suffer a lot more than us. How did you cope with that, and how was training going?
Yeah, as you said, it's a strange year for us, for all of us, and it has affected a lot of people. But in this situation, I think it's important that we stay together. And as myself, I'm a family man, I've got 4 kids, so hasn't been as easy because you don't have a routine when the kids go to school, go to do activities and stuff. But we have to obviously support the system and just stay on top of it and just just to make the most of it because it is a difficult time. But the most important thing is we stay healthy and stay together for all of us and continue to support each other. And it's just in this situation, it's nice to have a race. That's the most exciting part.
For you, Bashir, I know you've spent first some time in Belgium and then afterwards you left for training camp. You also had strange months between March and now.
It was the first time in the last 5 years that I've been home for so long time again. So I had time for my family, and as I say, I was one of the luckiest who ran just on time because after Tokyo everything was being cancelled or it was for later dates. And like comparing to the athletes, like to my training partner, I was lucky, so I was not that stressful. So I enjoyed my time home.
Great. So we've seen some great social media footage thanks to your social media guys and training together on the track and for Olymp, really going like a train. How much did you have to adapt training, or did you adapt training specifically for this 1 hour world record attempt?
For Bashir, for me,
For that, I think we see you run together.
I think for him, we never been a problem to run laps. He's used, but for me, was mentally something that to run like 60 kilometers on the track, like the long tempos. But for Mo, he enjoyed that, and I don't think nothing changed. I think
Yeah, no, Bashir is right on that. We spend a lot of time together, we train together, we're good friends, and he sees it when I'm on the track. I don't mind doing half marathon on the track, or run track. I enjoy it. It's just I think it's important that you just focus and don't even think about it, and that's what I do. When you enjoy something you love, what you do, just get it done. And I guess for both of us, training's gone well. Just very excited to be racing back on the track. I think that's the most important thing. Get on the start line tomorrow, see what you do.
maybe next stops for you rather on the track.
It's possible. I think it's possible. Why not? It's possible. I enjoyed the track. I think it's something that's never been done before, I believe. I think it's possible. As I said, like take one step at a time, get this half marathon out of the way, and hopefully go after the record tomorrow for both of us, British record, European record, and world record. But I think the most important thing is kind of, just get through the race. You can't be thinking, yes, record straight there. That record's there. As you know, Jos owned that record and still owns it. European record, and then the world record was finally. So, it's not easy, but at the same time, we just have to enjoy it. And as I said, like when I say enjoy it, I smile because I missed the track.
So you just mentioned the records, Mo. So we got some questions from the British colleagues who can't be here. So I have one question from them: is how much does it mean to you to beat the world record that was held by Haley?
Yeah, it definitely means a lot to me. And as I said, if you're gonna anyone record any records that are not there, just easily after we put a lot of work into it. But at the same time, it's something that I love to have, and I want to break it. And that's what I could do tomorrow.
So once you're back on the track now, you have a feeling. How do you feel on continuing on the track towards the Olympics next year?
Yeah, it's a strange year, as I said, for all of us, because obviously we were supposed to have the Olympics this year, and it's not going to happen. And it's probably a good thing for me in terms of having an Olympic postponed a little bit. And the reason is I can get back on the track and get back racing again, and just start to build my confidence and get a few races under my belt, and then have the Olympics. That's the key. But at the same time, I think the most important thing is staying injuries, staying focused, and just continue what I've done over the previous years, which means involves a lot of training camp, a lot of miles, and a lot of hard work. Yeah.
So Bashir and Mo, of course, as well. We all know you train together, you're very good friends. Just earlier in the corner, we were making jokes all together. Tomorrow around 9 o'clock, you will line up there. At what time will you switch on the friendship? Go, Bashir.
You first. Yeah, I think even during the race we will be just, whatever happens, we will be just friends. So I think last few laps, if we stay together, then I think then we are no more friends.
Depends if it's feeling good. But as I said, like, this is what championship, this is what race is about. And when you turn up on a race, yes, we are good friends. We do everything together, train together, help each other out in training. But in competitions, you know, the hat comes off and we go out there and see what we can do. If he feels great, we'll go past him. If I feel great, I'll go past him. But I think the most important thing is just get through the first half of the race and then we'll see what will happen. Not anything else.
So obviously you guys know that tomorrow it's an empty stadium, but we try to get some technology in the stadium, like some crowd sound, which will be in the stadium. We'll have a demo around 4 o'clock, I think, that will encourage you to at least have the emptiness gone on the stadium. We also have a playlist DJ that made a playlist, and you guys also send in your favorite songs. How important is that for you, both of you, to have music in your life and to have it maybe even during the race when there's no crowd to boost you forward?
Yeah, I think it's really important to just get through mentally. As I said, a lot of times for us when we train together, we don't use music. But in this situation, I think if you have an option where you have like have the music, why not? But it's a set tracks and just focus on it. And I think sometimes when you go through a bad patch, certain tunes or certain songs can help you get through it.
Yeah, nothing can replace the spectators and the atmosphere we get used to from Memorial Van Damme, but I think it's a great way to cover the things, to make the stadium more alive.
So one last question from me before handing the floor to the journalists. The last technological innovation installed in the Wavelight. If you guys have seen it, obviously you've seen it in Monaco yesterday. We demoed it in Fate, tried it out. How much do you think, especially in a long race like 1 hour, this can help to keep a steady pace or to go for a world record?
I think, in my opinion, it's great to have a focus, something you can look it up. If you have a great pacemaker and something, it makes the work of the pacemakers also easier. They just have to flow the light, and when they step out, then we have a technology pacemaker. So I think it's a great thing to have.
Yeah, no, it's a great thing for the sport to make people understand, because sometimes it's really important for us to reflect back to the people who behind the TV watching us, and it's nice to have the lights for ourselves as well as them to give you an indication of where the athletes are. Are they running fast? Are they ahead? It's a genius way, and I saw Monaco, which did an amazing job, and you saw all the races in terms of what happened with the result with the lights and stuff. So it can only be a good thing, and I'm excited to try it out.
Cool. The floor is yours, gentlemen and ladies.
This is for both of you. Did you talk about a race plan for tomorrow during those last days, weeks that you were training together?
We haven't talked in great details, but we talked about what we're capable of running, and I think the most important thing, as you said, for ourselves, is to get through the first half and see where we are, and then from there, depends on who's feeling great, take on the lead and push on. But I think that what we're going to do for sure in terms of the race is just, get behind the paces and get straight away, got on that time.
Yeah.
What time do you have in mind? Half time at a half race? What mileage do you get, kilometers?
I think the aim is if we do want to break European record, world record for both of us, we have to go after 250, I believe. 2:49 per kilometers. So that is that.
How differently do you approach a race like this mentally when you haven't got a set distance but a time?
Yeah, everything, as I said, like you have to approach it different. Everything has been done in training. It's nothing new. We do it in terms of because we want to run fast, and it's different racing and training. At the same time, we've done a lot of training under our belt where you're on a track with certain miles on a track, and we've been practicing that. So for me, mentally, I just switch off and just continue to run evenly. I think that's the aim. Sometimes, especially as a marathon runner, gets bored running around the track.
Yeah, I was used to run straight and I was just laps. Never finished. So at the beginning it was difficult, but I get used and I think I will be okay Friday.
But when you train for this on the track, do you train with spikes or do you train with marathon shoes?
Yeah, we switch between marathon shoes to save your legs a bit and spikes too. And I have been training with spikes.
Yeah, I train a lot with marathon shoes, but short stuff also I train with the spike. How long the workout was? More I run with road race shoes.
And you talked about the songs that you are going to play. Can you give us an idea of the last two favourites in the
I think one of them is like Kanan, Wave Your Flag. What was the other one? There's 5 songs that use Eminem, Dizzy Rascal. I don't know if people know that. It's only pretty when you would know these artists. But something just have a bit more tune and something has a bit more, rhythm.
Also, he have a lot of songs about himself, so I think that would be no problem.
There is one song that's made by somebody made it for me, and you will hear it.
You kept on the next weekend going like the hardest part. Do you have a plan to have one particular song like the hardest bit of the race?
I haven't thought that far ahead. I think the aim is just get through it, and at the end, just see what would be. But I haven't thought that far ahead. I think yours is a bit better plan than me.
In a normal track and field year, there would be no attempt on the world record. I think 1 hour world records. Where do you rate this world record between all the world records in track and field? Like 100 meters is obviously a mythical, let's say mythical record. Where do you rate this?
I think it's always nice to set history, and as I said, it's not an Olympic event, which makes goes down there a little bit. But at the same time, it's a world record. Anyone who's run a world record from Manama, it's amazing. And this record has been there for a long time, and owned by someone who's done a lot of athletics and what we bring back. So at the same time, I think if you do go that break that record, end of the day, it's a record and it's exciting.
Also, record is records, as most say, but also I think with the technology that we have now, maybe something that we will see more and more in the future.
How important is it that you guys are doing this together? Would you have done it if Bashir was not there, or would you have done it without Mo?
I think it would be a little different when we spoke to Cedric and talked to my agent Ricky and the rest of it. We were very excited when I heard, we would like Bashir and you to see what you could do to run this race. And I was just like, yeah, I do that all the time anyway. I'd love to race. Obviously, it would be a bit different if we have the crowd and everything else. But it's the situation that. And it's just exciting to know you're running with your training partner. You're not really thinking about Cheptegei or Kenenisa or other athletes where where there's lot more rivalry and capital, where they are. it's just nice to have. And I guess it would
Yeah.
have been a little different if Bashir, if the crowd were here, because I think he would have got a lot more support than they.
But they're home, so behind the TV is safe. Yeah, it's a great way. It was, like before we heard anything or there was no plan. It was a strange way to train and to keep focused. And when Cedric told us this alternative plan, it was we have a target to work for it, and it was agreed to do with my training partner, and it was a reason to go for a training camp together, a reason to work hard again.
But if Mo hadn't done it, you wouldn't have done it, you think?
No, I think I have been done it, but it makes special that he's also involved and he's also running. But I think I have been done it, but will be not the same exposure for the meeting.
Mo, why did you choose to come back on the track?
It's a good question. All of us, I think in certain things in life, we have to be honest with ourselves. You have to always be honest with yourself, tell the truth, and go on. And one thing for me, I realized was, in my career, I've won a lot of medals. I've won pretty much all medals there to be won. And sometimes you don't quite appreciate when you turn up a championship. You kind of to motivate yourself. And it got to a time where I was doing the training, and I was just like, yeah. And something would excite me, and I want to try to match, see what I can. The British record, which got broken again, but it was okay. And in myself, the training, when I was doing the training and everything I was doing, I was excited, but not as so excited as I was on the track. And that's the reason why I decided to come back. I was talking to Rick in the car, and just like, it's just different track. And in terms of track, it's something I miss, and that's one of the reasons I decided to come back, because I genuinely do miss it, and just nice to be back.
So for Tokyo, you definitely will go on the
I'll
track.
go on the track.
And will you ever come back on the marathon after that?
It depends, but I think Tokyo, I think the aim is obviously this race. Once we get this race out of the way, I'll do a half marathon in Ireland, and then from there, I'll talk to coach and plan a bit more. But Tokyo is the big one, and then from there, it all depends.
Okay, guys, I would say 2-3 more questions because you guys are going to go jog a little bit and then get ready for tomorrow, obviously. So,
how many chances do you give yourself to beat Mo?
We have to be honest here. Mo Farah, we know who he is. The question is not like I beat him. The question is how long can I flow him, and that's the correct question. I think I will try to flow him as much as possible, and of course I will try. I will give 100%, but yeah, I think he's faster than me at the end, and my training was like that. And running is easy; you just get it out what you put in, and I think he was better than me training. And I have to be honest to myself, but I will stay with him as much as possible.
Okay, both like your records, but you lost one, the 1500 in Monaco. Did it hurt?
Sorry?
Did it hurt that you lost your European record in Monaco?
Yes, I watched that race. It was very exciting. The records are there to be broken no matter what. And at the same time, when I ran 3:28, broke the British record, European record, it was amazing. At the same time, Ingrid Brixton, a great athlete, they believe in themselves and they train harder, and you couldn't wish on anyone else beating it other than them guys. And at the same time, it's all of us. How exciting is it to see young kid running that fast? what can you do? That's the next question, and obviously see them growing up and you know come through the ranks, and it's just you know it's just nice to see them running well and mixing in with them and not being afraid of Africans, other people, and mixing in. And I think that's what the sports needs. We need to believe enough that no matter what we'll do, what we get out, and continue to push ourselves. We should just set ourselves a limit where we say, can't beat so and so. I remember myself when I saw the Ethiopians, the Kenyans, I was questioning. I was like, how can I beat you? What can I do? There's no secret. You go train as hard as them, put in the work, and what will be, will be.
We'll see tomorrow what they can do more because Jakob is here again for the 50th.
Is he? Yeah. All right. Better listen, Jakob. Well,
Actually, do you plan to run a marathon before Tokyo?
I don't know yet. First this race, and we will make a new plan. And manager is behind, so he will have more information than me.
it is a couple of zeros. Yeah.
Not a chance that we will run London?
No, London, Amsterdam will be cancelled. No, difficult time for everyone.
Okay, maybe one last question that you can do a good one and you guys can go train.
Mo, because of your marathon training, did you lose any of the speeds that you need on the track?
Not at all. I believe I'm more stronger than I was at the time. So I feel like I haven't lost. It's just something that I need to work on. And I think having the marathon on my belt has definitely built me stronger. Where my legs can take more mileage, which is a nice thing. And as I said, the training, the coach knows best. But you know, just continue to now push on.
Bashir's face has more than most hands.
He can still run 47 after end of a big hard workout.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you all.
It's a very nice chat. We're really looking forward to that race tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks. We straight go to women. One more addition. Both athletes' favorite songs they were talking about will be published on our website later this afternoon. So you can check them, you can use them in your own media coverage. We also created a playlist which will be played here in the stadium and which you can find on Spotify, including their favorite running songs, and songs that the audience could send in earlier. So we created our own Memorial Hour Record playlist. You can find it on Spotify.
Mama, come on, Bobby, let's go party.
All right, thank you. Thank you guys. Cheers.
fantastic athletes in the long distance from the last few years. I mean, it's a long list to introduce them, but just a few things with Birgit, some fantastic performances on the marathon, world record holder, and what we saw on the marathon with coming through the times, 20 kilometers in 1:03:27. So that means we have calculated a little bit that 1 hour was about 19.1 kilometers, which is really impressive and which is very hopeful for tomorrow. And of course, next to us, the Dutch lady Sifan, who won 2 world titles so far, and we saw some fantastic performances in Doha. We saw some fantastic performances already here, also in the Diamond League in Brussels. And so we're really pleased to have you both here with us, and thank you for being here. Birgit, you have been training a lot on the marathon. You've been doing a lot of marathons lately, and not so much on the track. This is a very different challenge. How do you look forward to this?
First of all, I want to say thanks for the race organizer for inviting me to this pandemic race. Mine is to just to come here to do my best tomorrow, because I was preparing for London, so I was looking if I will get speed more than what I did in the road. So I come here to try my best if I will make the record that one for 1 hour. So mine is just I'm preparing London for the next month.
So, and Sifan, we know you have great track speed. So, I mean, the historical double with 1,510,000 meters, which we saw last year at the World Championships. How are you looking forward to that race tomorrow?
Yeah, thank you guys. This is really difficult time and overnight and in Canada and best make this race. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. This year very different. Everything is different. And there was the Olympic cancer. We also most of the activities inside. We didn't train like before we used to do. I don't know which shape I am. I think 3 weeks ago in Monaco, I was in that good with this really short time to prepare. But this time I'm preparing more great time to better shape, but I don't think I'm in better shape. But I think I will manage to run greater time.
Okay, great. We're really looking forward to this, and obviously a world record is never easy, but if we look at both of your track records or road record, I should say, I think this record is really feasible if we see that the times you come through on the half marathon is already the world record pace, and what you've done in the 10,000 as well in the Sifan. How differently did you have to prepare to run 1 hour and at a certain distance?
And actually, I did also, half marathon. I never prepared for it, but this time, because I don't have basis like long run, everything, I didn't better with the COVID-19 because I was training to where I was a big trainer, so I did politics, everything went out. So after I come to Zamora, like 5 weeks ago, I tried to build my endurance because I'm really my endurance very low. I haven't prepared. That I really try to train for long distance. I usually train for 50 minutes. When I ran half marathon, I was also practicing for middle long distance for 15, 5K. But this time I really was not so long distance, and it is very painful. But I think it's so hard to say which shape I am, but my training this couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, was much better.
Okay, great, looking forward to that. And great for you, it's I think the other way around, because you're running the longer distances than Sifan, and you're going for a shorter, quicker distance now. So how did you prepare for this?
When I was in Kenya, I was just doing speed walking in the field, and sometimes in progress. So I was well prepared. And I know I have competitor here, Manasa, and whom will compete with her tomorrow and other day. So I hope I will do good because I was being prepared well. Because during the game I was doing the traffic field, and the road vision. So I hope tomorrow I will do my best.
So, Stefan talked about it, and I'll ask you some more questions about that, Stefan. But really, how did you cope with the whole lockdown and the whole situation? Obviously, the world has changed drastically since March for everybody and for athletes in particular as well. Have you been able to continue with your training in Kenya, or has it changed a lot?
Due to this pandemic, the trainer
Really
changed.
close to the camera, the mic a little bit closer for you. So, thanks.
Yes, the training has been changed because of due to this pandemic, which have been suffered in the own world. So we just train me only with my pacemaker, and sometimes me alone. So I just do my best there when I was in Kenya. But it's not like the way when you are at camp with my colleagues. It's not like earlier on where we were with my friends. So I just try my best to do my best tomorrow.
And Stefan, I read somewhere that you spent 5 months in Ethiopia in the lockdown. A big part of that without your coach as well. So how hard was it?
For me, I went to in February. I think because of half marathon or the half marathon World Championships. I was actually in February, March was okay in Ethiopia. I was actually practicing, but suddenly they was cancelled, everything cancelled. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a rest and rest like 3 weeks. I take break over in March and then like an athlete, really big politics problem. We couldn't even go outside. I was like 3 months I haven't even go. We were so scared. This is so fighting. It is very hard, and I really practice my practice. I come to some borders and I come to Netherlands. I started in Netherlands like 2 months ago, 7 weeks ago, and that's I was locked down.
Well, you're well rested, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So tomorrow on the track, we know also, we talked about this before with the men and also with Faith Kipyegon yesterday. There's some new technology, there's a wave light, which is kind of digital pacemaker that with lights will show the pace. How do you feel about these technological innovations in our sports? And how do you think it will help tomorrow?
Personality, I have very like very well because I always unprepared when I make the race. But actually, it's good. It's motivation, so the athlete know where they are. So sometimes the coach shows you are running this, you are close to one record, and then you don't know. They look at me like a half mile, I think mile in Monaco. I didn't know where I was. I don't know even I was close to world record. I was just trying to do my best, but I suddenly get the world record. But maybe if that was better, and then I know I'm going to work with them. I may run extra bit to catch up. I think this is really fantastic. It's good for athletes also. It's hard to hear from outside, especially for 5K, 50 and a bit. I think it's good.
Great. Unfortunately, we will not have public in the state. That's also one of those disadvantages of the times we live in right now. But we will have some crowd noise, mixed actually, that it's encouraging you with some great music. Birgit, you used to run more the marathons. So have you ever run with technology like this before?
I never ran even that blue light that I had now today. I've never experienced such things because I never been in the field since I started my marathon day. I do my best now. So I never been in the field since. So it's a miracle. I had that like someone in front of someone just in the record.
Okay. So I don't know if there's some more questions from our friends journalists. Yes, back.
My question for you, Monica, before the end of the year, you were saying you did see your children very much at grade, and you have to be busy in the training camp. Have you been able to see more of them now you can train on your own? Would you close to home?
The question was that you have in the previous period training and traveling a lot. You couldn't see your kids so much. Now you have been home again and training a lot. So have you have time to spend more time together with your kids?
Yes, we were in camp during January, February, and then when we had about that corona virus, we just did the camp, everyone, and I went to my home to stay with my kids. Up to 2 months ago, I started to train from slowly and prepare well because I had the London has been open, so I started there to train slowly. And then now I say let me go to try any half marathon or any field. If my body is satisfied, I will go during my London marathon. So for tomorrow, I just feel I wanted to try my best to look how my body will be in the London. Yeah.
Anyone? Okay. So anyway, we're looking forward to tomorrow at 6:15 about, at 7:15, I'm sorry. The race is starting. So I'm looking forward for a really exciting hour, and we hope that we can see the first world record of this night tomorrow. So I wish you all the best, a good night's rest, and see you on the track tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both of you. Needless to introduce Katrina, I think, because well, she's the biggest competitor of Arna Fitiano, so I think you guys have all been following Katrina very closely because of Nafi. And they've been putting up some great competitions in the last few years, where Katrina did an amazing performance last year in Doha. Unfortunately, this year there will be no battle, how we like to call it, or no competition, how we like to prefer to call it. But I think we're super happy to have you here, Katrina. Two of your great distances or events, the high jump and the hurdles. How do you feel to be here back in Brussels, and how do you feel to compete again in this strange season?
Yeah, it's great to be back in Brussels. I absolutely loved competing here last year, obviously under very different circumstances. It was, my final competition in the lead up to Doha last year, and I was competing in the long jump in the final. So, yeah, I was very excited for this event. This was going to be sort of my major chance of the year, leading into a triathlon. So, yeah, I've got you guys to thank because this events kept me very motivated throughout training the last couple of months when I've been.
How have you been coping with this whole pandemic situation, and how has training been? Has it been very different for you in UK? In France, you live in France.
Yeah, it was difficult to begin with in France. I was there when the lockdowns were first put in place. We were one of the first countries to go into complete lockdown, so when that happened, I started to flee back home. I didn't see my coach for almost 2 to 3 months. So my technical work was what I've been built on the last couple of years. Obviously, I halted. I was able to train or do multi-events, and it's a very technical event, 7 different events. Yeah, so it's difficult to keep them up to a certain level. I think my fitness and my strength kept the same, but yeah, my technical when the facilities in France opened, I came back and I've been slowly building and trying to get back into shape since then.
And how is your shape now, in your own opinion?
Yeah, my training's going well. I think my training is really going very well. Obviously, my motivation goes up and down. The competitions, I'm very rusty, so I was able to get in a couple of competitions this year at a high level. Yeah, but my training's been going well, so hopefully that will show up on track.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Which of the two events are you looking forward the most to, the hurdles or the high jump?
The high jump has always been my favourite event. That's how I first got into sport. That's how I got into athletics. So high jump is my number one best one.
I will really look forward to that. So obviously, and the college journalists will ask you questions about that, I'm sure. But there's one other rising star who's competing here tomorrow, and we've seen some great performance from Dadic. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I've been competing against Dadic since 2009. She's a very good friend of mine, and she started off, she messaged me when I first came back to training, so it wasn't part of a 1 hour triathlon. So it was so crazy, no. But we're going to be in September, but yeah, she is having a incredible season so far, so I'm excited to see her and compete against her.
Great. So, yeah, the floor is yours, guys.
Oh, Sarah, you that now isn't here yet.
Outside play?
Yeah.
Outside it's always great to compete against that. Yeah, I don't know, I don't want to speak ahead, but we always bring out the best in each other. Obviously, it would be nice to compete against Anouk and Dadic all together in a triathlon. But yeah, I'm really sad that the triathlon being cancelled because I've been really looking forward to it, and I hope that's going to be big in 2021 and the coming years after that.
Yeah.
Outside athletics, how do you deal with it when you were a child? How much did that right for one?
Yeah, it's something that I've been after one in 30 years. That was like before I was born. It was one of those things where I've just been waiting last year. It was an incredible season, and I draw so much motivation from my football club LFC, so I'm so happy that they were finally able to do it. And yeah, they became world champions in Doha and the Khalifa Stadium as well, the World Club Cup. So yeah, I really draw motivation from them, and yeah, it's been a great year for Well, at first it was like, I'm in the worst place because I'm a scout and I'm actually supporter and Olympian, and both of those Premier League got postponed and the Olympics got cancelled, so it's been a great year, but it's been shocking. I'm in a good place.
We briefly talked at breakfast and you mentioned the fact that actually for you, it's been quite unusual being able to be on the circuit a little more because normally as a captain you don't quite experience that. Did you like that or do you miss being in that kind of triathlon experience?
It's something that I'm going to try and push for, obviously, with my Athletics Association, just in Taylor. It's one of those things like with meet directors, if they've got stars as in Navy in Brussels, then we're open to sort of doing the triathlon and putting on an event. That's what the fans want to see, that's what the locals want to see, and ultimately that's where we perform best. So I'm lucky that Brussels were able to do that, and obviously with Peggy as well, we were trying to set that up and something that I think should be a part of the circuit, and unfortunately with that, I'm stronger in high jump and long jump, so I'm able to compete on the circuit, but something that I think should happen all the time with triathlon in the Diamond League events.
What is your favorite? You're looking for 2 meters?
Okay, so I've got 3 goals in life. I used to tell you of it. I used to always want 7 meters, 2 meters, and 7,000 points. But I've stopped going and aiming for performance in the last couple of years, and I'm just trying to think of the process. And when I was so focused on performance back in 2015, 2016, 2014, I was winning no medals. So I think my change of perspective has definitely helped me become a better athlete, even if I don't have those performances once I know.
You jump in sometimes on training or
no?
No.
I'm never as good at training as I am in competition.
So, what are your perspectives now, you said?
Just trying to win medals.
Mm-hmm.
Which is such a difficult issue.
What has Doha changed for you?
Doha has made me believe that it's possible, and that's something that I definitely struggled with a couple of years ago. I didn't know whether I was able to put a performance like that out, and now that I know that it's possible, it's definitely given me the confidence going forward that I'm able to do it.
The disappointment you had in London was from the own crowd. It was huge, you said yourself. How much I've done you by that really since then, you lost gold medal.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, 2017 was definitely a difficult year for me in so many ways. Like, first of all, not being in the medals in London in front of my home crowd was tough, but at the same time, it was one of those things where I'd made a big change and I'd seen some of the results that were possible, even though I had a bad performance in London, and 6 of my events were very solid, and if it wasn't the high jump, I could have medalled, but 2017 forced me to change my perspectives on things. I did lots of, months before London, and I came 4th, I think, and obviously when I was not getting 7,000 points, but 2 girls scored 6-8 as well, so it was like, that was a turning point for me where it's like, even if I'm at my very best, I'm not going to medal here. So it took some time, but yeah, I just plodded away. Like my LFC club, you mentioned them before, but yeah, it took some time, and I think it was a bit too soon for me to do a performance after just moving my coach. I was only maybe 6 months into that change, and I think it's definitely paid off now, 2 years later.
Kevin Mayer is not training with Bertrand anymore. Has that changed anything in the group and for you?
No, it hasn't changed anything for me. We used to train separately apart from in camps, and he's still going to come on camps with us, and they're still, very close. They've had a partnership for 12 years, which, is incredible, and they've had an incredible career together. So yeah, he's still at the track, and they're still, very, very much talking and stuff.
Nafi is coping with some injuries, also last year. Is it the key for next year for the Olympics to get there injury free for you both? Is that the most?
Yeah, I think for every athlete, that's going to be the number one aim. That's definitely for me. I've struggled with injuries in the past, and when you're not 100% confident with your body, it's hard to put your focus on your performance because you're just thinking about your injury. So I think that's probably the goal for any athlete who can feel this.
Do you need a competition again against Nafi before Tokyo, just to see where you go down, or do you? Yeah.
I don't know. It's not something that we discuss. Obviously, it's I need a heptathlon before Tokyo. I'm gonna compete in the heptathlon. I don't know where that is yet because there's 2 indoor championships for the heptathlon too. So I don't know how to fit that in. But it's not so much practice against each other. I think it's just for me. I've run a long time now. I've not done heptathlon this year. I'm definitely gonna lead one before Tokyo next year.
How important is it for you to have a competitor like Nafi?
I think, like I said, about 2017, the 3 girls, when they scored the 6'8", 6'8", and 7,000, it definitely stayed on to become a better athlete. I know that I needed to step up my game. I think it's definitely, it pushes you to know that you have to be at your absolute best in order to get on the podium, in order to win. So I think, it's incredible. She's definitely pushed the sport along, and I'm just trying to catch up in the later years, and I'm finally glad that I'm able to be at that, competitive now. Sure.
You keep in touch in off season or?
Only doing like TikTok things on
Yeah.
Instagram, otherwise.
I've seen some great stuff. Obviously, we can't have our the British colleagues here. We're streaming, so they asked a few questions, Katrina, that I'd like to read and answer how you feel about it. But one of the questions from the British press was you speaking out to Vogue about the whole racism lately. How important is a role? How important are you? Or do you feel you can play a role in this?
Yeah, it's definitely important to me. I think during lockdown, a lot of people had a lot of time to sit around and realize a couple of things about themselves. And it took me. I wrote that maybe a couple of months ago. It took me a long time before I could feel comfortable to put that out. But I think it's definitely important for me to use my voice on that platform. And thankfully, I'm thankful to Vogue for posting that and putting that on such a widespread platform that a lot of people could read it, because in sports I think we've seen it a lot with the American, the NBA players and the tennis players as well. I think it's important to keep on and carry on with that message for sure.
And the other question is probably very irrelevant for the people in the room, but it's very British. How do you feel about British Athletics appointing Christian Malcolm as Olympic head coach?
Yeah, it definitely all ties in. He's the first black head coach too, and I think he's going to do a wonderful job. I think he's not too disconnected from being an athlete, so I think he's going to have that he's going to have the athlete in mind when he makes the decisions, and that's definitely what's needed.
Not that it matters, but I'm happy with that as well. Christian was from my generation a good friend.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy. Really nice person.
That's the 2 British questions. I don't know if colleagues have some more questions or begin on all of those topics.
Yeah, the British Championship this weekend?
Friday and Saturday. I'd agreed to come here before British Champs. I'd already signed up to come here before the British Champs, and they changed the date, so yeah, it was difficult for me to get back in time.
Well, we're very grateful that you're here, Katrina. So we're really looking forward to tomorrow. I think some 2 very nice competitions. We're really looking forward for that high jump. Unfortunately, without the crowd in the stadium, but there's still going to be some technology. You noticed in Stockholm as well, same technology. I will encourage a little bit. We'll have a DJ playing some great songs. So if you have requests when you're jumping high, just let me know, so that we can boost you to the highest performance possible tomorrow. So thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much.